Hello. This video is the first in a series covering the different paranormal occurrences in the town of ColtsLand, USA. The creature we will be going over is known only as the Harvester, and the story of the unfortunate couple who encountered the creature. The story behind the encounter with the creature begins with Dan Torrance and his girlfriend, Cher Dunham, who were out camping on Tuesday, December 14th at the Memphis Forest campgrounds on the outskirts of ColtsLand. While chatting by the campfire, a strange, loud, piercing sound rang out. Dan collapsed to the ground, barely able to breathe or move, the pain in his chest weighing him down. Cher, on the other hand, was silent and completely unresponsive. Dan saw her stand up and vanish deep into the forest. After Cher vanished into the woods, the ringing sound suddenly stopped and Dan could breathe again. After catching his breath, he immediately attempted to go after Cher. However, Dan could not pursue any further due to his chest still aching from the pain caused by the ringing sound. After some struggling to get up, Dan was able to at least stumble forward. Still dark outside, he grabbed a flashlight from his tent and headed in the direction Cher went. During his search, Dan heard strange footsteps that were unlike anything he had heard before. They suddenly stopped, and Dan heard the echoes of Cher in the distance. He immediately rushed over to the source of the echoes and came face to face with a large cave opening. Dan cautiously entered, only his flashlight helping him see. As he made his way through the cave, he found a trail of red smears along the floor. Fearing the worst had happened to Cher, he quickly ran, following the red smears. Dan then came upon a grisly sight. A whole assortment of dead, mostly decomposed bodies. Dan gagged and retched upon seeing the horrific sight. When he shone his light a little further, and on the other side of the skeletal remains, he saw Cher, stuck to the wall by a strange, slimy substance. Dan rushed over past the decomposed corpses and pulled the substance off as fast as possible. Once Cher was free, she woke up with a start. Dan calmed her down and brought her up to speed on everything that had happened. Dan and Cher then heard the same strange footsteps from earlier in the forest. Suddenly, the creature known as the Harvester appeared, a tall, spider-like creature with an abnormally large mouth. The creature emitted a loud, piercing sound, the same one that paralyzed Dan and had caused Cher to wander off. Cher and Dan both couldn't breathe, and because Cher was closer, the creature ran forward and grabbed her. It then released a strange tongue-like appendage out of its mouth and sucked out her internal organs. The Harvester threw her inhumanly skinny body aside, and it hit the cave floor with a sickening crack. Dan, who was too scared to do anything, ran out of the cave, abandoning Cher, locked too deeply in a trance of terror. Later, he was reported heading into a nearby diner, out of breath, screaming like a madman about the horrifying events he had just experienced. What can be gathered from this story is that the cave seems to be the creature's nesting grounds. As of now, it may still be hiding out in the same forest. Authorities were later sent to investigate the cave. There, the body of Cher Dunham was found, at that point nearly decomposed, like the rest of the corpses. Regardless, someone or something did kill Cher Dunham that night, and it would be best advised for the residents of ColtsLand to avoid camping in the Memphis Forest area for the time being.